Hi, I'm Deborah Claiborne. I'm one of the students in the Biological Anthropology Lab class, and I'm doing my talk today on forensic anthropology. First, I'd like to talk about what is forensic anthropology. Forensic anthropology is the examination of human skeleton remains for law enforcement agencies to help them with recovery of human remains, determine the identity of unidentified human remains, interpret trauma, and estimate time since death. Further definition of the term is necessary to understand the scope and basis of forensic anthropology. Anthropology alone is the study of man. Anthropologists are interested in culture, language, linguistologists, and physical remains or artifacts left behind by human occupation and human remains, physical anthropologists. Trauma observed on bones, such as this image I will show you. It shows an obvious hole in the skull and also that the skull has been entirely cracked by the hole that is in the skull. The forensic anthropologist will have to determine what type of hole it is. Was it a blunt trauma or was it a gunshot wound? Well, obviously to the eye we can see that it's more than likely a gunshot wound because it is going inward and not outward. And obviously because of the circular size of the hole that's in the skull and it has cracked the entire skull, it probably was from a medium range gunshot fire, a gunshot wound. In many cases, after identity of an individual is made, the forensic anthropologist is called to testify regarding the identity of the remains and or the trauma of wounds presented on the remains. Forensic anthropologists work with investigators at death scenes where badly skeletonized, fragmentary, burned, or buried remains are discovered. Forensic anthropologists laboratory primarily biological profile of unknowns, aid which includes time of death, ancestry, sex, and stature, and the determination of human versus non-human bones. Sometimes when you work in forensic anthropology, you get the police to bring them back to the area. A forensic anthropology might be called to assist in determining, first of all, if the remains are in fact human. If the remains are human, then the anthropologist can assist law enforcement with the collection of the remains at the scene. Typically, the anthropologist would photograph the remains prior to removal and also make a pictorial view or site map of the area so that if needed be, the scene could be recreated later. During the scene work, the anthropologist would work with other crime scene specialists who might be interested in other evidence that could not be found at the scene, such as weapons, blood, DNA, and etc. Forensic anthropologists can then look at the bones to establish a profile of the remains, including age, sex, and ethnicity, height, time since death, and trauma. If the police have a missing person in mind, the forensic anthropology can then work with the medical examiner and forensic audiologist to determine if the identity is a match. These are the type of things that you come across when you become a forensic anthropologist. You come across not only crime scenes, but cold cases where someone may stumble across a skeleton or they could stumble across some type of remains and you are called out to identify and excavate the remains and work in the laboratory to try to identify who that person was and how the trauma was caused. Bones can tell more than one story about a person. The skeleton, teeth, and hair can give insight into a person's life and help determine the cause of an individual's death. Forensic anthropologists can even use their research and expertise to determine where a person was born. Being able to track an individual's life through their hard tissues, such as their skeleton or teeth, can help forensic anthropologists build a profile. That profile can help track how an individual lived and also help find out how they died. This is just a summary of what a forensic anthropologist is. There's a lot of hard work and a lot of study and a lot of help with law enforcement. I thank you for your time, and I hope you've enjoyed my video. Good day.